Yeah, I think we're really proud of what we've been able to achieve so far. Like you said, and like I've been saying as well, no one kind of had us to get to this stage. So I think we're all pretty happy that we've made it here. But like I keep saying, the job's just not finished yet. We've definitely got our eyes locked on the game tomorrow, ready for New Zealand and hopefully ready to play a really big game because we do want to win and we don't want to just come to this World Cup to say, hey, we've made the semifinals and we're happy with that. We want to take it even further.
And do you have any update on Stefani and whether she might be fit?
I think they're still monitoring her. It's day by day at the moment. But yeah, we're just hoping she'll be all right. But if not, we'll be out there playing for her again.
Hi, Haley. Back in 2016, when you won the World Cup for West Indies, you were a teenager yourself, and now you have a bunch of them around you, you're captaining them. You mentioned the other day, how you were trying to keep them calm when, it was just about the last few runs were left. Now that you are in the semis, and possibly for those kids, it's like the biggest game of their career so far, what is that lessons from that teenage that you're passing on to them?
Yeah, I think for me it was mostly just about staying calm, but having fun, especially as a West Indian. I think we're always at our best when we're out there on the field, enjoying ourselves, being really vibrant in the field, and I'm just encouraging every one of the youngsters to go out there and enjoy themselves. And yeah, it's a World Cup semi-final and it's a huge game, but we're still playing the same game that we learned in the backyards of our homes and out on the streets in the Caribbean, so just enjoy it.
Haley, you opened the tournament with a big defeat, but the way you've bounced back from that to get this far, can you just take us through what's gone into the making of the team, the kind of conversations that you've had with the younger players, how the senior players have kind of gotten together, and the kind of things that you've spoken to as a group?
Yeah, I think we just probably weren't up to standard in that first game, and I think it was really good that everyone noticed that and everyone realized it. But from the moment we did, I think we all had the belief that we could still get the job done, and the character shown within the team for us to be able to come back out there and fight. And yeah, just some of the discussions we would have had about really putting our hands up as senior players and getting the job done, especially when it came down to Scotland and Bangladesh, and how if we were able to have some really convincing wins against them, it would put us in a really strong position, which it did. And yeah, I think one thing led to another. We obviously got ourselves in a really good spot in that England game to be able to go in and probably be in a position where once we won it, we'd have been able to qualify. And then, yeah, I think cricket just takes over from there. It's just about having a really good game, and every single one of the players went out there and were able to execute and pull together as a team really well, I think.
Globally, whether right or wrong, there is a perception that the West Indies team is about you, Deandra, Stefani. Do you think this tournament has kind of dispelled those notions and that there's a lot more to West Indies cricket? And just tell us about the layer underneath and the kind of talent that's coming through, and how you've kind of been happy about the performances that the younger players have put together, especially.
Yeah, I think it's been a process. I feel like, yeah, there probably was a point where a lot of it had to come from me, Steph, and Dee, but that's because the girls underneath us probably didn't have much opportunity to be any better than they were. But they've sacrificed a lot, and they've been training really hard, and you see them and the results and the performances coming out now, and that has so much to do with all the hard work they've put in, and seeing players like Kiana Joseph, even Aliyah Aline, the way she's been bowling, Karishma Ramarak, she's someone else who kind of came into the spotlight last year in the World Cup, and she's been able to play some massive roles again for us this year. So I think that makes us even more dangerous, having that extra ammunition that does lift some pressure off of our shoulders. And look, I think if you look at a game like yesterday's, some people might have said to chase 140, it might have had to be me and Deandra. But in fact, we had a player like Kiana Joseph coming out there and literally lifting all the pressure off of my shoulders, which just gave me an opportunity to play my own hand.
Haley, can I just ask about having fun? We've seen teams here under real pressure. I'm thinking of India, England, and it doesn't always look that fun when people expect you to win. But you mentioned playing the game you played in the back streets of the Caribbean, and I don't want to disrespect your professionalism, but you're also here to have a bit of fun, aren't you?
Yeah, of course. Look, I think, like I said, we play our best cricket when we're enjoying it. you see people like Neandra Dottin in the field and how up and how vibrant she is. That's when she's charging in at the ball, enjoying herself, and then we're celebrating after, like we've just taken the biggest wicket of the match. But yeah, I think, look, every time we step out on that field, we do take it seriously and we want to perform really, really well. But like I said, I just think we do that best when we're out there enjoying ourselves and playing really free, even batting with Kiana Joseph. We were having a laugh every single time she hit the ball for 6 and got dropped and it went over. But yeah, I think all that just helped her to remain really calm and kind of let go of the nerves as well.
Hi Haley, all the best for the match tomorrow. The venue, the Sharjah venue has had contrasting kind of results when in the night matches for both the teams. When you guys played against Bangladesh, some 100 plus were chased in less than 13 overs, while New Zealand were all out for 88 against Australia. So do you think that kind of role, because you've seen them in the night game under lights, do you think that can sort of plays into your mind going into specifically because of the venue?
I think maybe. I think we have seen quite contrasting wickets in Sharjah. Watching the games, we have seen some wickets where the balls have turned massively and kept really low. And then I think when we played there, it actually kind of slid on a bit and was a pretty good wicket to bat on. So I think it probably will come down to tomorrow and what the wicket looks like when we do get there. So hopefully there is a good one lined up for us like there was last time.
In the last World Cup in South Africa, probably not one of the great tournaments as a unit for you, but since then, slowly, whether it was the result against Australia or now making it to the semi-final, slowly and steadily, you guys are coming into the terms with what you can achieve as a team. I want to understand, since not making it to the semi-final in South Africa till now, internally as a group, what has changed, and personally for you, what has changed that you look like, as you said, you're enjoying it more and the results are for there to everyone to see?
Yeah, I think as a team, everyone definitely are probably more specific with their roles and understand it really clearly. And I think that's where our head coach, Shane Dykesy, came in and made a massive difference. I think for a lot of our girls learning, it was probably a bit overwhelming sometimes thinking to make a difference or to make an impact in a team or in a match, you had to score 50 or 60 runs in order to do that. And we actually think that playing a game like T20 cricket, you can make such a massive impact if you make 20 off of 12 balls. And a lot of our girls have just been given very specific roles. Someone like Kiana Joseph, again, I keep calling her, but you can see from the last match, she had one job to do, and it worked out pretty well last match. But things like that make my life a lot easier, and I think as we look throughout our lineup and people have their specific roles, we've kind of just been able to mend it together to, I guess, put together more team performances by doing so.
And just the last one for me, the pre-tournament talks, whether it was in media and otherwise, was about that how this could be potentially one of the closest tournament we would have. In terms of results, we have not seen a lot of close matches, but probably somebody would have predicted, but not a lot of would have predicted the top 4 that eventually ended up being. Do you think that on that level, the game had changed a lot, that it's anyone's turn to make it to the top 4, or it's just a fickle nature of the game that anyone who plays good cricket can win on given day?
I think T20 World Cup specifically, I think all teams have a much better chance just because of the format. And realistically in World Cups, it's whichever teams show up on a day. I think if you look at a series between us and England, based on prior results, we'd probably go down quite heavily. But in a World Cup, we can get ourselves pumped up to be able to come out and win a game, and that's all you need sometimes.
Hi, Haley. Actually, just taking off from her question, right? A lot of times when we've discussed the kind of cricket that's been played in the tournament, because there hasn't been much space to maybe hit sixes or the wickets have been slower, a lot of people have spoken about that entertainment value in T20 cricket and because one aspect is power hitting, but then people haven't been able to hit sixes here. West Indies clearly doesn't have that problem. Deandra has not had that problem. So can you just tell us about that particular aspect on those boundaries and increasing that, how you guys have worked on that through the course of the tournament?
Yeah, well, firstly, I'm really thankful that we've got some pretty strong girls. I'm not the biggest six hitter, so I've left most of it to them, but they've been doing a fantastic job getting that done. But I think another thing, one of the main things when our coach did come in and wanted to work on was our boundary hitting and our six hitting specifically. And I think when we looked at a lot of stats around the world, you always saw the teams that hit the most boundaries were always winning games. And I think to all the months leading up, probably from the end of last year straight through January till now, we've been playing a lot of T10 cricket, specifically just trying to get our power hitting and our boundary hitting going. And well, it clearly is working now, so he must be doing something right, I guess.
Fair enough. And because there's going to be parallels with that 2016 edition, right, given just how the tournament's going, can you tell me what your memories of that 2016 World Cup were? Because you were younger, sure, you've learnt a lot, of course. What would you maybe want to channel from that younger self of yours when you go onto the field tomorrow?
I think just being fearless. I think I remember going out on that field as a just turned 18-year-old. I'm being very nervous, but also after being 9 after 3 overs, just going, hey, look, I'm going to have a swing and I'm going to be fearless about it and just back myself to get the job done. And I think I do have a lot more responsibility on my shoulders here now, but I feel like when I do have that approach where I'm really fearless and taking the game on, I feel like I'm at my best a lot more often.
Right, and last one from me. When we talk about teams doing well at a World Cup, at one time we used to talk about it in the Indian context with a WPL before it came up. For West Indies, what do you hope, maybe, getting past New Zealand if you make the final, what do you hope that'll do for the conversation around women's cricket in the Caribbean?
Yeah, I really hope it helps our domestic setup. We've obviously seen the WCPL come about, which I think has made a massive difference for our girls, getting to play against some of the best cricketers in the world and playing a high quality tournament like that. But for me, it's got to start from even before a WCPL. It's got to start right up from our individual territories, putting things in place for the girls to have proper facilities to train at and a proper structure that I guess the teams or the girls don't have to be in camp in order to get proper training. So I'd love to see if we can go out there and do really well, and on the back of that, there's so much more of a system put in place for our girls, because I think if you look at it, you see the best teams in the world are the ones that have the system. Australia, England, they've got, I don't know exactly the number, but they've got plenty of professional contracts, and not only at the international level, but right through. So hopefully we can see something like that happening for us.
आप देख रहे हैं सौगंध टीवी, सौगंध वतन की।